Welcome to this week's viewings, those of you that are choosing to view. Thank you very much. And what's it all about this week? Well, I do a little bit of a cruise, and then once I've gone to that cruising spot, what I do then is, as it's raining, I thought I need to find something to do because I get bored. Things I do when I get bored. Don't do it all the time, but run the VT.
I don't know what it is, mate. I don't know. Got Dan on the phone. Broadsword calling Danny boy. Broadsword calling Danny boy. Come in, Danny boy. Doesn't understand voice procedure, does he? Broadsword calling Danny boy. Broadsword calling Danny boy. Come in, Danny boy. And it kind of fits for Danny boy. Are you playing on this radio thing? Now, with that wide beam behind me and a wide beam in front, there's wide beams that pass here. Bit tight. Just saying. I know it's early August. I needed to put my fleece on. And I know there's a wide beam with its fire going. Do other people do this? I generally wear whites for a week, and then I have a whites wash with towels, bedding, you know, all that stuff that goes in a white wash, pink shirt, all that sort of stuff. And then next week will be a darks wash because I'm wearing darks. Deep lock this. So my task today is to empty the locks. No, set the locks. Maybe empty them, maybe fill them up, don't know. Here comes Dan. He comes steaming in the locks. I don't know how he does it. I'm nice and gentle, nice and slow. Dan proper gives it some. And he's quite good at it too. Shall I close your gate?
Yes. Oh, sorry, mate.
Now these houses, flats, townhouses, whatever you want to call them, they were part of the site of the Ovaltine building. They're very well designed, very well, they look nice. I don't know what they're like on the inside, I assume they're very nice. So you've got these type here, and you get these ones. Now, for those of you that don't know what Ovaltine is, it was a hot chocolate style, Horlicks style bedtime drink in the olden days. I say olden days. They were knocking about when I was a boy. So that makes me olden days. I remember saying that to my parents. Oh, back in the olden days, when you were a boy, and my kids say that to me, particularly my younger three. But look at those, they look very grandeur-esque. Is that a word? Probably not. A penthouse types up there, look. I'm not sure if you can see, car parking underneath, with signs of no mooring everywhere. As the sun peeks through the side of the building, boom, There we go, look. Which tells you it's a nice day. Don't often get nice days this summer. Proper lush grass in that, on that lawn. Oh, just lovely, lovely. House isn't too bad either, I suppose. I wonder if that's one of those beautiful lock keepers' cottages. The only access point to it is this bridge. If so, bit of a shame. Anyway, let's run back. Not that I needed warming up, but it's made me leak. Not a bad thing. I don't know whose land that is, but it's very nice. So a nice view for that boat there. It's great, sun all day. I've noticed that the canals have overgrown a lot in a year, and I know CRT are pushed for money, and I'd like to know the prioritisation of what they spend their money on. Because if you leave the overhanging trees, the overgrowth, the side of the canals and let it overgrow, then when you come to chop it back, well, going to cost a lot more money. This, see this here, that belongs to that house establishment. Can CRT not force them to cut it back and do their little bit? I don't know. We don't want it to go back to the 50s, 60s, do we? Really? Well, I don't. I live on it. So are we as boaters prepared to get stuck in? Well, there's a question. And then CRT, with all their volunteering thing, I think that's great. I think if people want to give up their time, it's great. I also think that if boaters got involved, well, there ought to be a change of mentality, I'm suggesting. There's only so much we can do as boaters without having the equipment to do it. But then if we did sponsor a part of the canal, what's the payback? Discuss. Kind of looks like an IBSR range. well, IBSR, because the R in IBSR means range. Individual battle shoot range. Those in the know will know. Those not in the know, well, that looks like an IBSR. Just saying. Nice garden shed. Nice bridge coming up. We're entering the Grove. Nice place, the Grove. Very nice, very picturesque. And you can tell because the amount of boats that are here. Always busy, this area. Nice. Interesting boat. Couple of sun loungers and the Grove Mill. Very picturesque. I imagine that's a wheelie, opening the weir type of thing. And I moored here last year, near that tree. And that's a lot more overgrown this year than it was last year. And see this green boat? A proper jaunty angle that is. Now I don't know why at all. Very popular mooring spot, Cassia Bree. Very shallow as well. Up this end of the pound anyway, I think bottom end of the pound it's not so bad, but there's Armco, there's a bit of shade if you want the shade. Christian was moored here. It was around that spot there where that grey boat was that I teamed up with Amanda, lovely lady, as she works her way down this end of the GU, the Grand Union. I'll meet up with her again. Busy. And reading.
There she comes. Just get on. Falling leaves like the breeze want to blow on.
It's been chocker. So I found a mooring spot which is a little shallow. Only here for a couple of days, I can put up with that. I think there's some spots down there, and it's one of those things where you don't know what you don't know when you're mooring up. So my advice is always take the best mooring spot you can, or a mooring spot you can fit in, and then do your subsequent recce's from there. I don't think you can see that, it's a rainy day, another one for the summertime. And opposite me, Dan's boat. We're double moored because, well, there's not an awful lot of parking spaces around the Watford, Rickmansworth area, and sometimes you have to double moor. So Dan's that side of me, and it's raining. So I thought to myself, what can I do today? I haven't done any indoor photography. Well, okay, I've taken some photos of the boat and all that sort of stuff, but I used to like portrait photography, so I'm going to set up a studio.
cheap from the A to Z. You know, basics and all that sort of stuff. And you know what? Generally speaking, it's good enough. It's good enough for what I want to do with, you know, taking portraits. So let's look at my simple setup. Black screen. And it doesn't really matter that the lights are on, because if you take a photo with the flash, as long as the photo on the black screen looks black, then it doesn't matter how much light's in the room. Funny that, isn't it? Behind me is a normal one flash on a tripod, just one flashy type thing, because there's not enough room for a second one. It is tight. And I've got a snood on the front, which gives that focus of light, and I can diffuse that with some diffusers. I'll do some reds and blues, and I have a mid-range APS-C crop sensor, Nikon 5600. It's okay. And if I was behind the camera filming, I would use this more often, but generally speaking, I'm in front of the camera, so I use something called a GoPro or a Sony RX100, one of these things. It's a battered point and shoot, and it's battered around because, well, I use it constantly, but it's got a 1-inch sensor and does a very good job at doing what I want it to do, and it focuses by and large pin sharp. Can I do some product photography? Probably. Can I do some portrait photography? Those of you that are in the photography business will probably have a studio a little wider than 5'10". Bit tight for space. But as always, you've got to look at it on a positive point. Can I do some basic portrait photography? Yes. If anyone's interested in getting some portrait photography done, because it's far easier when I'm just the other side of the camera, instead of trying to work out how far I am away from the camera, and where the lighting is so much easier if I had a model here. And I'd like to give it a go as another one of my things I can do. There we go. That's what I've done today. And here are some of my portraits. Some of you will complain that I'm a bit posy, aren't I? Well, yes, but then who do I take a portrait photo of if it's not me? So unfortunately, it's the portraits are all of me, because I haven't got anyone else to take photos of. But until I do, it's just of me, and I won't be taking many portraits, because even I get bored of looking at me, especially on these things where I'm just looking at me and editing me all the time. It does get a bit tiresome, but there we go. What am I going to say? Oh yes, thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, those of you that have, and if you haven't subscribed, give it a go, because I don't just do narrowboaty stuff, I do all sorts of stuff, and this is just about my life on a narrowboat, and the things I get up to, even when I'm bored. Ciao.